Oh my goodness. So, what's up? Just kind of got to a point where I'm just gonna stop on this for the night. But this is the stem, the GrowBox stem. I got it all boxed up. I've been doing like a lot of measurements. There's gonna be a lot of changes that need to be done to the stencil. I actually downloaded a version of LibreCAD, LibreCAD. So it's for computer aided design and or drafting. And I'll be using that to actually make a more precise version of the stencil, and possibly even make like a little tool or something that I can cut the plexiglass. So what we have here is the basic Raspberry Pi, or the Raspberry Pi with the device on top. You guys know all that stuff. But what I added today, I just got some cables in, an HDMI extension cable, so male to female on the other end on the outside, 2 USB male to female on the outside. I was able to, I already have a male to female for the PoE. I've been had that. I got the new, these are from China, so it took a while to get here, damn near a month it seemed. But that connected to a breadboard, which this is only for testing. I don't really have a breadboard in the stem boxes, so that should give me a little bit more space to work with here. But you can see it's pretty much packed. This box, the dimensions of it is 11 by 11 inches and 5 inches and 5.1 inches tall. So that's 280 meters by 280 meters and 130 millimeters. Sorry. 280 millimeters by 130 millimeters tall. Get that right. I try to measure in meters, millimeters now, just because it's a little bit more precise, and I can get those smaller adjustments and make everything fit in this. It's a little bit easier than dealing with 1/3, and it's freaking a lot easier to deal with. So what I added here is the Tower of Power. So what I did is it's like, all right, how am I going to get power into this box and distribute it everywhere? So I have a whole little power bus bar set up here, or a power distribution unit actually set up here, and this is 3 of these 8 position terminals here, screw terminals. I've been wanting to add this for a while, or add something like this for a while. I had this before, but I kept on thinking, how can I use this? How can I mux connectors together the easiest way? And of course, with the breadboard, that's a lot easier for the GPIO or GPIO number 4, and using that, especially for your digital connectors. But how can I do that for power? So these terminals here come with like a joiner here, so I can actually join all 8 here. Probably even tear this off to join only a couple of them at a time. But just to get a little closer look, the cables in between the relay and this is about 3 meters. No, 3 millimeters. No, 3 centimeters. Sorry, 3 centimeters long. But that made me adjust over, even though 2.5 centimeters should do it well. Again, a lot of this stuff will be written down on the schematics that I'll provide later once I get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually good, and I want to release this as far as like a finished product. So what I have here is some terminals are diverted. It's kind of hard to see. So for here, this is going to my motorized ball valve and the power connector for it, and then that runs around here to this right here, so then terminates there. And then I'll terminate the cable out here, which is labeled valve, and it'll be labeled. This will terminate to a 3-pin connector. I can still do a 2-pin. I guess it won't really matter. I'm kind of just trying to standardize things a little bit. 2-pin versus 3-pin. I think I'll just do a 2-pin for that one. It's a lot simpler, and it'll be a little bit more obvious too. But everything else should be 3-pin, so I can get all the 3 phases. So the hot, the ground, and then the other phase. Or the positive, the negative, and then the ground. So I can get all of those in here and wired up properly, and then all these connect, and they're going here. And on the back side, this is where I have my supply cable here. This actually pulls power from the outside and into this whole setup here. So let's zoom out a little bit here, and it'll go to something like this. Again, I'll terminate this better. What happens is I like the insulated heat shrink terminals here, but I can't close this. You know, it's just hard. So I got to figure out what I'm gonna do with that. I might just go dirty with it and just keep it as is and shrink wrap it or something like that. But I can't close it with these things here, so I might have to get some different type of terminals or something, maybe a little bit shorter. Probably the shorter terminals will be a lot better for this, so I'll just pick that up at Home Depot tomorrow. What's holding this in, these are 2.5 inch, here we go, 10 by 24 2.5 inch screw, and you know, it comes with a nut, but it needs to be a little bit taller. It's just tall enough. So 2 3/4 is probably the best. It's definitely going to be the best. 2 3/4. I'm semi-kicking myself because you have to adjust, or you have to measure or include in your measurements the thickness of the plexiglass itself. And I thought about it. The only thing this really holds me back from doing is adding another bolt down there, because I'd like these to just stand a little bit sturdier, but it's fine. I used a ratchet set to get this on there a little bit better. What else is there? That's pretty much it. So all the cables that are coming out of this, and this is a PG29 gland right there, the PG29 gland, and that's fitting all these cables and some space, so I can actually add more cables, probably about 2 or 3 more cables. I'm probably gonna have to add actually 4 more cables to this whole gland setup. Run it probably along the back side here on the top, and then run it to here, and this is where all the fans are going to actually terminate to, so that I can actually control the fans intake and output, the intake and exhaust all at once from one relay. That should be fine in terms of amperage. The only thing I worry about is the amount of heat in this. I do have a small little fan, might add a second one, but I might worry about more the heat on this wire. This wire is the 18 gauge AWG, or 18 gauge wire, 18 AWG, and it can only handle so much amperage. It's mainly for low voltage, so I have a regular connector here and everything, and I plugged this in a while ago and it works. I turned on a little light using my script and everything, so everything works fine. But that's pretty much it. Yeah. So yeah, GrowBox stem almost done.